What's up, everybody? Surprise! I know we generally do not go live on Fridays, but I had to come on. I had to come on today because there is so much breaking news. So I wanted to bring it to you guys live. I know it's a Friday. We're generally on Pop, or I'm actually generally on Pop and Politics, but we are not going to be on tonight. And so I said, well, I got to bring it to you guys on Christian Conservatives. So here I am, your trusted source for bold, unfiltered news and analysis on the issues that matter most to Christian conservatives. So from faith and family to politics and culture, we tackle the hard truths and stand firm on biblical principles. All right. And so tonight, or actually this evening, I want to get into a lot of politics, news, political news that has broken over the last couple of days. What a week! What a week, folks. The tide is turning and President Trump is back in the driver's seat. He's had an amazing week, And the Democrats have had an awful week. From Leticia James, the same AG who tried to crucify him in court, is now under federal investigation for mortgage fraud. And I'm going to get into all of that because you guys know I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland, and our city state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, was convicted on a very similar charge. So it does not look good for Leticia James. All right, we're going to get into that. Also, Joe Biden stuttered through yet another embarrassment. We talked about that where he was on The View, but now CNN is imploding with AnaNavarro and, of course, our guy, Scott Jennings, taking her to task on it all. Also, Jasmine Crockett pretty much turned herself into a meme, and Trump fired the woke librarian of Congress. Also, we're going to bring you the video of the Doge subcommittee dragging the trans agenda through the mud. And out today, news of MSNBC's Jen Psaki. Her ratings are falling faster than her approval on the left. So it looks like her bright red hair couldn't distract from the flaming wreckage of her show. So we are going to get into all of that. But here's the truth: the media won't say it. You know, this is Christian conservative. I got to take it back to a biblical context. God is not mocked. That's in Galatians 6. What we're witnessing is the unraveling of an ungodly agenda. The woke mob built its house on sand. Now the storm is here and it's collapsing. Proverbs says, when justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terror to evildoers. And this week, justice is winning. Woke is going by the wayside, and truth is finally rising. So we're going to get into it. All right. I see I do have some super chatters here. Thank you guys so much. Well, not super chatters, chat. I'm doing this on my own tonight, so I want to acknowledge you all. Trez says, hi from Laurel, Maryland. I enjoy your channel. Thank you so much. Yep, we're here in Maryland, so thank you. Yes, indeed. And I see Coaster's here keeping our moderator tonight, keeping everything going. So thank you so much, Coaster. Yes, everyone, please, as you come in, smash that like button. It really helps to get this video out to a wider audience. So we revamped the channel. It's sort of taking on a brand new take. We're starting to put content on here. And so trying to really build it up. And so I really appreciate all of your likes, all of your subs, and share. So want to get into this breaking news out this evening. Newark Mayor Baraka just got arrested and taken into federal custody for storming an ICE facility. What's wrong with these Democrats? Why are they always advocating for lawlessness, for criminality? So the mayor of Newark, Ross Baraka, he committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself from the ICE detention center today. He's willingly chosen to disregard the law and has been taken into custody now. So I have the video here, and I want you guys to see this. Let's see here. This is crazy. This is insane. He is. And this wasn't all. This was not all of it. So there were more Democrats that showed up as well. So again, he was arrested. And then a whole gang of them came and tried to storm the gates of the detention center. Let me see here. Here they are. I mean, these people, there is so much for Democrats. I'm not a Democrat, but I mean, again, there is so much assistance and help that the city of Newark, New Jersey needs. And instead of them adhering to that, they're here trying to bust down an ICE detention center for criminal illegals. Take a look at this madness. It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So again, a spokesperson confirmed Mayor Ross was taken into custody by federal police outside Delaney Hall in Newark. The spokesperson did not have additional details. Alina Habba, the interim U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey, said Baraka committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security. He was willingly chosen to disregard the law. That will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody. Baraka visited the facility in recent days amid efforts to close the recently reopened prison. The mayor has made public claims that the detention center does not have the appropriate permits to operate. Witnesses said the arrest came after Baraka attempted to join a scheduled tour of the facility with 3 members of New Jersey's congressional delegation. Robert Menendez, LaMonica McIver, and Bonnie Watson Coleman. Says here, we're at Delaney Hall, an ICE prison in Newark that opened without permission from the city in violation of local ordinances. I mean, that's crazy. This is really, really crazy. These Democrats, time and time again, show us that they care more about non-citizens than they do their citizens. Now, Newark, New Jersey is riddled with crime. You know, there are people there that are looking for housing. They have a homeless situation. They have a drug situation. You know, there's rampant poverty. And out of all the things these elected officials should be doing, they're storming an ICE detention center. And the crazy thing about it, they don't care about these illegals. They do not care about these illegals. They are only using them because, one, they want to create publicity, and this is a publicity stunt. And then 2, we know that under Biden, they had open borders because they wanted all these illegals in the country so they could create more congressional seats in these states. And they wanted these people to fast track them into voting. This is what this is all about. They could no longer manipulate citizens right here in the United States. So now they're going to manipulate non-English speaking people by bribing them with all types of social services to strain the already strained system. This is what they're doing. It's terrible. It is terrible. And so, of course, you know, the mainstream media, liberal media couldn't wait to jump on this and spread their lies about what occurred. So here is MSNBC's, I even forget her name. She was on The View as well, talking about what occurred. See how she details this.
of New Jersey, Alina Habba, on Fox News there on the arrest of Newark Mayor Baraka earlier today. Mayor Baraka was arrested by DHS this afternoon while he was protesting outside of a New Jersey jail recently converted into an ICE detention center. It was the second time Mayor Baraka had held protests outside the facility, a new facility built to hold up to 1,000 people. Footage of the arrest was captured by Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, who was also protesting at the facility today. Habba declined to say where the mayor was being held, simply that he was still in the state of New Jersey. Joining us now, Deputy Director of the Immigrants' Rights Project at the ACLU, Lee Gallant, is here. He joins me and Rev. This is, in my view, a political move to deflect from the legal landscape where all they do is lose. What do you make of where the Trump administration stands legally on immigration?
Yeah, I think they didn't expect the courts to push back so much, and the courts have. You know, they've.
All right. So there we have it there. Again, you hear them, they're calling this a protest. They're trying to spin this as, you know, some type of issue with President Trump. This is, again, the Democrats, the same people who, for multiple years, while President Biden was falling all the upstairs, falling off of bikes, wandering into nowhere, they said they can't keep up with him. He's sharp, smart, and at the top of his game. They said this until he lost, until he removed himself from, actually after that. They continued to say this until people actually started coming out and said, you're lying. Okay, so these people, you can't believe anything they say. You cannot believe one word of them out of their mouths. All right, but this doesn't stop them. They continue to try to use this propaganda media and their airtime to push lies and misinformation. But guess what? People are not falling for it. And that brings me to these Representative Brandon Gill. So recently this week, the DOJ subcommittee held hearings, and one of them to discuss the USA fencing's policy about men and women's sports. So basically, it was how U.S. fencing's policy mirrors the broader push from activist groups pressuring sports bodies to ignore biological reality. Well, folks, oh my goodness. So I have talked about Representative Brandon Gill before. He is an up-and-coming congressman. He is on fire. Every time I see him in these hearings, he really lays bare these leftists. He did the same thing to the NPR head CEO, and now you have to see what he did to USA Fencing's leader here. I have the video here. One moment. You guys got to see this. He ripped him to shreds, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Let me see here. One moment. All right. So this is Representative Brandon Gill. All right. I want to bring you this video. I mean, every inch of this was just glory. It was glorious. All right. Here we go. So again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how there was one female fencer who took a knee when she had to fence a biological male. So it was a trans person. It was a guy pretending to be a woman. And she took a knee, made national news over it. Brave young lady. Well, they disqualified her from that match. And so now we have the DOJ bringing forward the USA Fencing to talk about what they're doing in this sport. All right, take a look here.
Now recognize Mr. Gill from Texas.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is an excellent hearing, and we really really appreciate your leadership, incredible leadership on this topic and on this community, on this issue. And I'd also like to thank our witnesses, Ms. Turner and Ms. McNabb, for particularly moving testimonies. And thank you for your bravery for coming here. I know it takes a lot of guts to testify before a congressional committee. Mr. Layfield, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Do you think that men should be allowed in women's locker rooms?
Sir, those regulations are set by tournament
I'm just
organizers.
asking you yes or no. Do you think men should be allowed in women's locker rooms?
I don't have a personal opinion on
You don't have you have a personal opinion on a lot of things, but not on that?
Sure. I mean, it's a locker room is not really an area where people interact.
So the answer is yes.
I don't
Do you
really
think
have
that men should be allowed to share showers with women in athletic facilities?
I think that showering is a private activity and that it should be private.
And it should be private. There's oftentimes communal showers. Are you okay with men showering with?
We know it should be private, you dummy. We just answer the question. This is not about whether people should have everybody join them in the shower. We're talking about situations that are communal, where you have a large sports group in there where it's open. And should men be allowed to be in a communal showering setting with women? He knows this.
With women?
I don't have an opinion on that in the context of USA.
You don't. So. Interesting. That's an astounding thing to not have an opinion on. I think most normal people have an opinion on that. Are you okay with women being at a disadvantage when competing against men in sports?
Sir, mixed events happen all the time, and
no,
women
that's
often...
not my question. Are you okay with? Let me ask it this way: are you okay with cis females being at a disadvantage?
If their competitor, assuming that you're talking about,
it's a yes or no question,
female, that they've met the requirements set forth in the policy.
Why did you post on social media for the world to see? You were asked in an anonymous question, which you posted online. Are you okay with cis females being at a disadvantage? You said, yeah.
Got him.
Yeah, I believe it was Congressman Cloud that had asked me about that, sir, and I'm happy to address it again. That was a one-word answer to a more nuanced topic, and I feel like if I could take it back and expound a little bit more than what I had there.
Reclaiming my time.
Sure.
Do you think that women, do you think that parents who don't want their daughters competing against men in women's sports are whiny?
No, sir.
You don't? Why did you write that on social media? I've got a picture here where you posted that. You were allegedly responding to a parent who didn't want their daughter being beaten up by men in sports competitions. You said, I'm not going to pull her from the sport and write a whiny email announcing my departure.
Sir, Mr. Congressman Jack had asked me about that, and want to be crystal clear, that was an inappropriate message.
Do you think that they're cowardly?
Sir, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't at all. And in fact,
why did you write that on social media?
I regret it, sir. I deleted it shortly after posting, and I certainly don't feel that way anymore. And given a lot of the messages that we receive, and even conversations that I've had,
do you think that
Ms.
parents
Turner,
who don't want their daughters competing against men in sports should be compared to the Ku Klux Klan?
No, absolutely not. And
why
acknowledge
did you
that
do
I said
that?
that in the message, sir.
Why did
that
you
was
do that?
inappropriate.
That was inappropriate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're right. That is inappropriate. I'd like to read what you wrote and what you posted on social media.
Sure.
Responding allegedly to a lady who had these concerns. The only wizard that's going to dig you out of the myopic hole you put yourself and your family in is one of the, quote, grand wizard variety.
Wow.
Inappropriate, sir. And I acknowledge that I said it, and I will commit to never making a message like that again.
That was in response to a parent, according to you on social media, who had a problem with this. Was this a real email that you were responding to?
It was a real email, sir. I did not respond to it and hit
This
send
was a
now.
real email. Did an actual parent write this, or did you write this email?
It was written by an actual person claiming to be a parent. They were not a member of our
Were you that
organization.
actual person?
No, sir.
You were
I was
not
not.
that actual person, but you staged this whole interaction.
The response, sir, was not real, and I regret that.
Okay. You think inclusivity presumably is a big part of the fencing community. Is that right?
I would say so, sir. We're a very welcoming community, and I'm proud of
Are
that.
you welcoming to Trump supporters?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right.
Then why did you, in your Facebook page, from the fencing coach, write, imagine being one of 71 million people dumb enough to vote re-election for a treasonous clown who's permanently banned from Twitter for inciting an insurrection, you mad MAGA bros?
before we go on, I want to say Gill's new name is Get 'em Gill now. Get 'em Gill gets them. He gets the left and he chews them up and spits them out. I love this man. Get 'em Gill.
I acknowledge that I stated that in my personal capacity, sir. However, as chair,
That was from the
sir,
fencing coach.
I have to acknowledge that 77 million people voted for him in re-election.
That wasn't your personal capacity. That was from your capacity as, quote, the fencing coach online.
Yes,
Like,
that is my blog, sir. That's my publication, and I acknowledge writing that.
All right, my time is up. Thank you.
Yeah. Get 'em Gill. You got him. You got him. And this guy sat here and he lied and he pushed away and he misinformed. And he tried to change the subject and didn't want to answer these questions. But Gill got him. And I love him. I want to see more of this. This is what I like to see. This is a wonderful Friday. It really is. This is the type of Fridays I like to enjoy because as you guys know, we've talked about this on Christian Conservative and Poppin' Politics time and time again. This trans agenda is detrimental on so many levels, First of all, the science is clear. Physical difference, there are multiple physical differences between men and women that not only make this unfair for girls, but it makes it dangerous. Bone density, reaction time, muscle mass, it's all backed by research. Also, our tax-paying dollars should not pay for these organizations to do this to our girls. Why are we funding associations that ignore biological truth? So I'm happy that he got him to admit this stuff and answer this stuff. So, yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I enjoyed his subcommittee hearing where he really got on the NPR head and he called her out and had a whole bunch of gotcha moments. And I like this as well. And guess what? As Christians, we're called to stand for truth, even when it's unpopular. Gender confusion isn't just bad policy, it's cultural deception. And it's leading us down a road to transhumanism. Because when they can't define gender, when they don't want male to be male, female to be female, when it's all a bunch of jumbled, chaos, then that is an easier way to usher in transhumanism, AI, and the fusion of human and robot, because robots generally don't have a gender. So if they can get us into a genderless society, then we can easily be pushed into or blur the lines of human and robot. And this is where it's going. Not only that, but it also is pushing us towards taking away parental rights. Because when they say that you can't define male and female, when there's no such thing as woman and man, it's all blurred and intertwining, then they start to redefine mother and father and family and what it means to have, what your role is as a mother and a father, and how the government can automatically come in and take over those roles. They've already done it in many places. Maryland here, parents have gotten their children taken away because they have not affirmed their gender ideology, and the list goes on. So this is very important. If we don't defend truth in sports, in schools, and in society, our daughters will pay the price. Not only our daughters, but the entire family. So like, share, and subscribe, folks, if you believe women deserve fairness, not fantasy. All right. And please get those likes up. Definitely appreciate you guys coming in. The likes really help to push this video out to a wider audience. So please hit the like button and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. All right. So we are moving right along here. This has been an incredible week of winning. Woke is really taking a back seat and hopefully is going away slowly but surely. And another one is in the Army, in the military. So Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth put trans troops on notice, saying they can separate from the military with a voluntary discharge. So this was out. I think he put out this video today, talking about trans. He said the justices approved that they can remove transgenders or people struggling with gender dysphoria from the military. So he's basically saying he's giving them 30 days and there will be an honorable discharge. Here he is talking about it. Take a look.
Here at the Defense Department, we continue to relentlessly pursue the president's agenda, especially on readiness. He put out an executive order a week into his presidency, stating the prioritizing military excellence and readiness, that expressing a false gender identity divergent from an individual's sex cannot satisfy the rigorous standards necessary for military service. We agree, and so we implemented that policy. It was challenged in court, and of course, we appealed. And 2 days ago at the Supreme Court, our policy was upheld. And so we're going to continue to advance that policy here at the Defense Department. So, in accordance with policy now reinstated, service members who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria may elect to separate voluntarily. There's a timeline here, and then eventually involuntarily if necessary. This is the president's agenda. This is what the American people voted for, and we're going to continue to relentlessly pursue it.
There it is. There it is. They're not playing. This is what we voted for, folks. This is what we voted for. This is why the polls still show that in a head-to-head matchup between Kamala Harris and President Trump, Kamala would still lose because we're getting what we wanted. And I'm happy about it. I am. This whole trans agenda is nonsense, and I'm happy about it. And like he said, so I think it's approximately 1,000 service members self-identify as being diagnosed with gender dysphoria, according to the Pentagon. There are roughly 1.3 million active duty troops. So those troops will have 30 days to leave the military voluntarily if on active duty, and 60 days if they are reserve components. So as you mentioned, he talked about, he talked about involuntary separations after those periods. This is what it is. This is what it is. So I agree with it. We talked about this a little bit last night, but I know several trans identifying individuals. I know several. And first, before I say this, I want to say that my heart goes out to anyone dealing with this, any family member, dealing with this with, a loved one, a child. And I'm praying for you. I'm praying that God, has a supernatural hold over your life and that he heals it. He heals you body, mind, and soul. I do. My heart goes out to anyone dealing with this. But it's these people are not all there. I'd say 95%, maybe even more, of people dealing with this, they have a mental issue. And so these types of people should not be in the military. They really shouldn't. Just like they deny schizophrenics, they deny certain weights. If you have a certain weight, it's just multiple physical and health issues that you are denied from serving in the military because of it. So you got to find something else. That's it. That's it. So we will continue to follow this story. Also, want to first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming in. I see more people are here. Please send it off in the chat. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that they should remove trans-identifying people from the military, or do you think they should be allowed to serve? I want to get your thoughts on this. Let's see here. I have I do have some chats here. And, guys, we do have super chats available. So you welcome the super chat. That's always welcome. Let me see here. It says, Trez, maybe they should let some cougars into men's showers and locker rooms. Then I bet they would feel how uncomfortable it is. I know. Let me see here. Amber says, I hope Trump's active criminal case in Georgia is dismissed soon. I don't want him to still be out on bail for $200,000, and I don't want him to be found guilty of any more felonies. Yep. Yes, indeed. Coaster says he has immunity. I believe he does. Yeah, he does. So I'm hoping that same thing too. And we got to get these people out. We do have a super chat. Kenzie with the $5 super chat says Trump admin is giving us what we asked for. In life and death situations, we need clear-headed individuals. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your super chat. Really appreciate you, Kenzie. Yes, indeed. And folks, please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Sound off in the chat what you think about this transgender being moved from the military. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So moving right along, on the most recent edition of CNN's Newsnight with Abby Phillips, senior CNN commentator AnaNavarro came on and nakedly shilled for former President Joe Biden, lying about his infamous no daylight remark to Kamala Harris upon endorsing her for the presidency. And you know who, Scott Jennings, took her to task. Here is the video. Let me see here. I want you guys to take a look. All right. I don't even know why they call this with Abby Phillips. They need to call this show Scott Jennings show, because he's the only reason why people watch.
But why can't Joe Biden understand that? That it was immigration, the economy. Why? I mean, I thought that was I thought that was one of the most striking things was his unwillingness to even acknowledge that maybe some of the issues had to do with it too.
No.
Now that was interesting. So it looks like Abby, even now that it's all the cat's out of the bag with Biden and his senility and his poor demeanor and mental faculties and things, now they're okay to call him out. And so this is what Abby was doing. She was calling him out, but too late, too little, too late.
Well, if you watch the entire interview, he did acknowledge it and he took responsibility. He said, look, I was in charge. So yeah, the buck stops with me. I was, it is my responsibility. I think part of what happened between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and this entire election is that there's a lot of affection and loyalty between the two. There was a lot of gossip for 4 years that they didn't like each other, that he was undercutting her, that she was unhappy. I think she couldn't distance herself from him out of loyalty. And I think today what you heard from him was a lot of deference and affection towards his vice president, a role that he played.
But let me ask you a question, though. He said he wasn't surprised that she lost, but that he would have won the race. That's like saying, well, I was a boat anchor on my vice president, so she drowned in this election, but the anchor itself would have floated. That's that is crazy talk for him to say that.
He did not say that he would have won the race.
He literally said, he's like, I wasn't surprised, but I would have won. The idea that he believes to this day. Here's one more issue.
I mean, he not only said that, but he has said it repeatedly.
Now that you in a world of trouble when I'm talking about Anna, when Abby is agreeing with Scott. Now Biden, what is going on? Why is the media in such a hurry now to sink Biden? Why? We know that we were all talking about his mental faculties deteriorating. Everyone saw it. But now all of a sudden they want to sink Biden. I'm curious about that. Here we are. He's crap. Oh, yeah. So that's it there. Wow. I mean, for years, you clearly could see that Biden was not all there. And we got video after video from not only people in his inner circle, not only from people working for him and surrogates, but the news media going to bat for him, covering up, saying there was no there, censoring people who were saying that there was something wrong, that this guy is senile, that he's deteriorating at a rapid pace. And they would not lend any credence to it. Now, all of a sudden, you can't get them to shut up. They're writing books about it. And you got Abby taken up for Scott Jennings about it and stuff. Something's coming. They are preparing for something. Maybe it's a rerun of Kamala Harris. I don't know. But there's some reason why they want to sink the ship of Biden. It may be because they know, like Scott Jennings said, he is an anchor. He is a weight that they want to get rid of, and they want to get rid of him now, because if they don't, and 2028 comes around, when they're trying, or even 2026, when we have the congressional races, they know that Republicans are going to talk about how they lied about Biden. They lied about him. So I don't know. What do you all think? But Anna really got her lunch eaten there. And they come for her again here. Take a look. All right. This is such a wonderful Friday. Oh my gosh. The left is getting their lunch eaten. I mean, they are getting torched over and over again and again. Look at this. Let them cook.
Watching him on The View today and watching some of the interviews he did over.
Thank you for your viewership.
Yeah, I saw it. It's rare for me, but I did watch it. I will just say, watching him over the last few days reminded me that a whole bunch of people were telling us with a straight face that this man was capable of serving another 4 years as president. And that these appearances, coupled with what I understand is going to be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropped on the Democratic Party when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book come out next week, I don't know that the Democrats have fully internalized what's about to happen to them. Between what he looks like today and what they're about to report, get ready.
I am not sure that Joe.
You just said that
what did he not say?
You said that he told Kamala Harris that she could not have any distance
False.
from him.
It's been reported. He told
It doesn't
her
matter what
point
he
blank,
was.
He told her point blank, no daylight, kid. No daylight.
Because reporting can never be wrong.
Are you attacking the journalism around it?
You think reporting can never be wrong?
If you want to be
You come in,
anti-journalism,
you come on here and you attack reporting every night.
I do not.
We actually asked him the question
There's critical
directly.
reporting about this guy, and he told her point blank,
we asked
no
him,
daylight.
We asked him directly today.
Right.
Did you tell her
You think he's
that?
ever told a lie?
I don't think he tells many lies.
Cognitive decline, I can tell you that much.
I don't think he tells many lies. I don't think he's done it. Wait. No, you know why you don't get to laugh like that? Because you support a guy who lies every freaking day and lies continuously. You support a guy who cannot acknowledge that he lost the 2020 election and that lies about it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's in Jake Tapper.
Thank you.
Have you read it? Have you read it?
Guys, we gotta go. Thank you very much.
Wow. Joe Biden doesn't lie? Oh my gosh. He clearly lied. We saw the lies that he did just on the border alone. He was lying like I don't know what. And talk about lies. He lied about the whole Hunter Biden thing. The whole family is a bunch of liars, a bunch of grifters. And here she is a couple years ago. You want to talk about Biden doesn't lie. She can eat her own words. Take a look at this. All right, this is AnaNavarro being asked about Joe Biden not pardoning Hunter Biden, which was a major lie he did. Take a look here.
We need to do compare and contrast here.
So Joe Biden's gotten asked about, talking about law and order. He's gotten asked if he would pardon his son. He has said no.
Right.
He got asked if he would commute the sentence of his son. He has said no. On the other side, you've got Donald Trump, who has said that he will pardon the January 6th insurrectionists. Yeah. They're not even his sons. They're just sons of bitches.
All right. Well, that right there goes to show you that President Trump is a man of his word. He has done everything he said he would do, and Biden is a liar. Is a liar because he knew from day one that if his son Hunter Biden was convicted, he was going to pardon him. And the answer's coming right out of the horse's mouth. How do you say horse in Spanish? Yeah, she literally, she's he's not a liar. And he turned around and lied about it. So there you have it. These people, man, oh my gosh, they're disgusting. They are disgusting. But day after day, they are getting told. They are, the covers are being pulled back. And we are seeing them for their lies, and they are facing the consequences for them. They are facing the consequences, and I love it. I love it. Here she is, and when they can't provide any support or factual evidence for something, when they can't skirt it, so if they're not in a situation where there are more people that are agreeing with their lies, what's the next thing they do? It's the R word, racism. They yell racism. And here she is on the same panel. She couldn't get by all the other stuff. She's facing rejection and people aren't agreeing with her. So she yells racism. Here we have it again. All right. That train is never late.
Racism, it's absurd. My point is, the idea that she lost because of racism is absurd. She lost because the country was in a disastrous place, and they blamed him and his politics that she had to defend.
Can I tell you something?
And he's a white guy saying, as a white guy,
you as a white guy have the privilege of saying that racism, and you as a white male.
I'm saying it's an
well, I am telling you right now.
Statement as a white guy to sit there and say I would have won with the same policy that she ran on.
As a woman of color, I am telling you that it is incredibly ridiculous for you, with the privilege that being a white male gives you in this country, to say that there wasn't some element of racism.
I think it was
and
terrible
sexism.
policy. But I think if you guys stick with this idea, hold on. If you stick with this plan, which is every time we lose an election, racism has to be involved.
That's not what I just said. I literally gave.
All right. Let's unpack this, because they continue to push this lie about people didn't vote for Kamala because she wasn't a black woman. She was a mixed race woman. And here she is. And then she's going to tell this man he can't say that that's not the case because he's a white male. First of all, before I really get into it, I want to thank, we have a super chatter here. Thank you so much, Trez DDS. Says President Trump is speaking up for Jesus lovers. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I 100% agree with you there. And it's just speaking up for the truth. For the truth. I mean, whether you like President Trump or not, one thing that he has pretty much been consistent with. Now, I'm not saying he was a saint and he was, he didn't mischaracterize or embellish on certain things. But for the most part, President Trump has always been a straight shooter, and he told the truth. He told the truth, even when it was uncomfortable, even when he knew that many people would not agree with what he had to say. He told the truth. Now, these leftists and Democrats are so obsessed with racial idolatry. And this is how you know this is the spirit of the Antichrist. This idea of this obsession over race. I wish I could say that they are just using it as a tool to make people emotional for their votes, just due to the history of slavery in this country. And I think some people are. But for the most part, I really believe that the Democrats are obsessed with race. And they truly believe, but from the most part, that people it's a systemic racism in this country and everything is racist. I think they really believe it. I do. But the whole thing with Kamala is not due, as many of the things they have said or claimed, is not due to race. So before she was magically shuttled into place as the presidential nominee, she was the subject of headlines like exasperation and dysfunction inside Kamala Harris' frustrating start as vice president. This was remember, she was not liked as a candidate in 2020. She was I'm talking about the Democrat primary. There was press and headline after headline. Also, how Joe Biden should solve the Kamala Harris conundrum from the corporate press. That was a headline in corporate press. It was so bad that Democrats like Elizabeth Warren were leaving the open question of whether Biden should switch out Kamala Harris as VP. Remember when he was running, she was so bad that they were saying, should he remove her and replace her with someone who had more likable poll numbers? This is what they were saying about her. She was so bad. Then remember, this was when when Biden won in 2016 as her 2020, and he was starting the campaign. They were saying, should we let her go and bring in somebody else as VP? So they kept her. But let's go before that. In the 2020 primary. So she launched January 21st of 2019, and she had tons of hype. Media was right behind her. She had strong fundraising because she's a Black woman. That was her initial momentum. She polled in the top tier after her first debate performance in June 2019, even sparring with Joe Biden on race and the busing thing. Remember when she called Joe Biden a racist? This is racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. They were throwing racism all over the place. But then her numbers collapsed. She quickly began to tank. She had a lack of a clear message on her policy, even back then. She had poor campaign management, and she had internal infighting. She failed to connect with key voting blocks, including Black voters. It was so bad that she had to get out before the Democrat primary happened in California. She was not even going to win her home state. December 3rd, 2019, she dropped out. That was before the Iowa caucus because she was so low in the polls and her fundraising was in the pits. Nobody liked her. It wasn't just a general population. Democrats didn't like her. Black folk didn't like her. At her peak, she hit around 15% nationally. But by the time she dropped out, she was polling below 4%. That's bad. I mean, she was so bad, she was behind Pete Buttigieg. Remember him? You know him. She was behind Pete Buttigieg, where nobody wants to be behind. And even billionaire Tom Steyer in some states. It was bad. It was pitiful. So she has always been a bad candidate. Nobody likes her. It's not because of her race. If anything, it's because of that. Her cackle. Okay, sorry I had to put you through that. But I mean, for real, she is awful. She is awful. So despite the mainstream media pushing her as a front runner, Kamala Harris couldn't even make it to her first primary vote. Her campaign fizzled. And it's doing the same thing. But instead of Democrats taking a look at this, reflecting on it, and readjusting, they continue to ride that donkey home. They continue to push this idea that it's because of race. And it's not. It's just not. So along those lines, we have AG Letitia James. So today she was doing some type of panel discussion, and she had a heckler in the audience that really called her out. Let's see here. I have the video here. Take a look.
My question is for Tush James. Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. That guy deserves a trophy. He really does. Good for him. Good for him. So you guys know she is under grand jury subpoenas have been sent out in her mortgage probe. So the Trump administration has referred New York AG Letitia James for potential prosecution over alleged mortgage fraud. And for those of you who are in the chat, I know somebody was here from Maryland. We know you will get hemmed up for mortgage fraud, because they did it to our Baltimore City State's Attorney, Marilyn Mosby. She's about to lose her law license. And if the same goes for Leticia James, she's going to lose hers as well. So basically what happened is the Trump administration referred her for potential federal prosecution over alleged mortgage fraud. According to the New York Post, the referral was made by Federal Housing Finance Agency Director William Polt to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy AG Todd Blanche. James is accused of falsifying mortgage records for a property in Norfolk, Virginia, claiming it as her primary residence in 2023, despite being required to reside in New York due to her role. This sounds very familiar. Very familiar. The referral also alleges that James misrepresented a Brooklyn Properties unit count and falsely claimed to be married to her father on past mortgage documents. Okay, so she's even gone above and beyond what Marilyn Mosby did. Okay, she's on her Ilhan Omar stuff. So potential charges include wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, and making false statements to financial institutions. James has denied any wrongdoing and criticized the investigation as politically motivated. What happened to no one is above the law? Remember how she used to walk around, nobody is above the law. Yeah, whatever. You're gonna get your license taken. You're gonna get your law license taken. And let me tell you why I say this. Okay. So you guys know I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland. Former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby was convicted of 2 counts of perjury and 1 count of mortgage fraud related to financial misconduct during her tenure. And she is about to lose her law license. So basically what they got her for was she falsely claimed financial hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic to withdraw $90,000 from her city retirement account despite her salary increasing during that period. That was the perjury conviction. Then she was found convicted for mortgage fraud, where she misrepresented a $5,000 payment as a gift from her husband on a mortgage application for a Florida property, which actually was her own money to secure a lower interest rate. So in May of 2024, she was sentenced to 12 months of home confinement, 100 hours of community service, and 3 years of supervised release. She was also ordered to forfeit 90% of the value of the Florida property involved in the mortgage fraud. We saw all this play out in the media, the trial and everything. She was begging President Biden before he left office to pardon her. He did not do it. So again, she was begging him for that. Now I think she's on appeal now, which is unlikely to go her way. Mosby's case has drawn significant attention. Okay, that was according to New York Post. Again, she's the same state's attorney who was prosecuting police officers involved in the death of Freddie Gray. Her convictions and subsequent sentencing marked a notable turn in her legal and public service career and for Baltimore City. So as I call her reign of terror, she was a social justice George Soros prosecutor. She failed to prosecute multiple crimes. She was very soft on crime. During her time period here, Baltimore City had 300 plus murders every year. Didn't start to go down until she was out of office. All right. So again, now she is pushing for an appeal. It's very unlikely. So what is likely is she is going to lose her law license in Maryland. And this may happen to Leticia James also. Okay. So want to take this back to a biblical reference. What does God say about corrupt authority? Romans 13 says, I think it's verse 4. Government officials are supposed to be ministers of justice, not agents of vengeance. It's just not supposed to be that way. Proverbs 11, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. These women exalted themselves. That's what they did. They were out for revenge. They were led by hatred. But God's word says he humbles the proud. Okay? So I feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them at all. And as believers, again, we don't celebrate someone's downfall, but we do rejoice when the truth comes to light. This is a moment to reflect and pray that justice rolls like a river and righteousness like a mighty stream. Again, that's in Amos. We stand firm, speak boldly, and never forget, God is not mocked. And again, I'm not saying President Trump is some Jesus-like figure, but he was steamrolled. I mean, everyone, even people who were not supporters of President Trump, saw the lawfare pushed against him over these last several years as ridiculous. It was a miscarriage of justice, and it was not the way our judicial system is supposed to be run and led. So I don't feel sorry for any of them at all. All right. All right, folks, as you come in, please hit that like button. Hit that like button. Again, I am generally here on Thursdays and Sundays, along with Michelle Talkington. But this Sunday, we are not going to be on just due to it being Mother's Day weekend. So I wanted to come on here tonight and just, check in with you guys and bring you the latest news. What a wonderful week. I mean, the left has really, really been called out this week. The covers have been pulled back. The truth is being pushed forward. President Trump is laying down the law. And I love it. I do. And it's not so much that these people are getting their just due, but it's because our country is safer. I sleep better knowing President Trump is in the White House now. I feel good knowing that we don't have millions of people invading our country and coming over this border illegally. You can see and feel, as we saw him handing down many of these executive orders on gender ideology, on education, and the list goes on, it has trickled down to locally. Now people who may have seen and felt that the left was going too far over the last 4 years, but did not have the courage to speak out, are now speaking out. So I feel good. I do. This is good for America. And the crazy thing about it is whether you voted for President Trump or not, I shouldn't say crazy. I should say you're blessed that you will feel the benefit of this as well, even if you didn't vote for him. So want to move on and talk about and another thing, I mean, that's happening here is, all of these leftist shows that were on TV and things got all this prime time viewership or ability to be in front of them. So many faces are not doing well. Jen Psaki, for one. So she recently took over, I think, Joy Reid's spot. And according to Town Hall reporting, her show is doing miserably. So her show is losing viewers. And if they don't circle back soon, then it's possible she might find herself out of a job. So she's in the 9 p.m. time slot on Tuesday through Friday, as Rachel Maddow's show was relegated to Mondays. However, the ratings are abysmal. The Briefing, which is the name of her show, debuted with a 1.2 million viewers and 139,000 advertiser coveted demographic of adults aged 25 to 54. This is according to townhall.com. But her second episode on Wednesday plummeted, oh my gosh, to just over 1 million total viewers and only 65,000 in the demo. Wow. People are turning it off. People have lost all credibility. They've lost credibility. They know that they lied on so many things, and President Trump has uncovered the biggest one being the border. Before President Biden lost the election, he and the rest of the Democrats were saying, oh, we can't close the border because Congress won't do anything. Well, that was a lie that we all knew, but it was clearly shown to the entire country after President Trump got into office and he closed it down. I mean, you went from millions of crossings a day, or almost millions of crossings a day, to less than 100. I think it was like a crazy number. He closed it down. He shut it down. Okay. So we can see clearly that they were lying, and at the expense of American lives. So people they know that they're liars, and they know that nobody wants to watch it. Nobody wants to watch it. All right. Yes, G. Warren, I see you. I talked about that at the top of the show, how the mayor of Newark was arrested. So definitely go back and start this broadcast from the beginning. I did speak about that. Yes, indeed. So thank you guys so much for coming in. I see a bunch of you guys are back. I see you. Allie is here. Of course, Coaster, he's been here from the beginning. G. Warren, thank you guys so much. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button as you all come in, and subscribe if any of you have not subscribed. This is where we are. We talk about the latest in news and politics from a biblical perspective, a Christian perspective. And so, different days I'll do nothing but biblical and theology topics. And then some days we do culture, some days we do politics. So this is what you get. You get a little bit of everything here. Thank you guys so much. So now I want to move on to Jasmine Crockett. She's another one. So she has been the poster child for the Democrats, it seems like, as of late. I'm sorry. This woman is embarrassing. She is so embarrassing, not just to women, not just to Black people, but to women. Women have worked hard. Many of the women that have come before myself and you all in the chat that worked hard to be taken seriously in the corporate arena, in education. The list goes on. Women have worked hard. You know, they did not want to be seen as jokes, as lesser than, as incompetent. So many of us have worked hard and stayed up late and done so many things to just be seen as just as good, if not better, than our counterparts. You know, we can do the job just as good as any man in you know, many areas, not a lot, not most, I would say, but you know, this type of work, you know, in the Congress and things like that. I'm not really talking about physical work. Woman is a disgrace. She is a disgrace. She's a laughing, illiterate, just nasty woman. Here she is here. They have a montage of her and some of her most recent media programs. Take a look at this. This woman, I mean, oh.
That you might see out of Veep, but we didn't make this up. It's real. It's a congresswoman, a real one, asking a real witness, I guess, real questions.
I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
And you're a joke.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand? Cutting health care?
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe?
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness?
Trump.
Thank you so much.
So before we go on, so that was, I believe that was also a snippet of the USA fencing hearing by Doge. That woman was representing USA Fencing, I believe, or some woke organization. So she was acting as if it pained her to say Trump. You know, she wanted to say it. She's like, Trump. No, you want to say Trump, 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 Trump. That's what you really want to do. Okay. So your acting is awful. But anyway, now if you guys saw earlier the video of Get 'em Gill, Representative Gill questioning, he was professional. He was, you know, very clear. You could understand where he was going with his questions. Not all this, let's play a game. I mean, why should you do that? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But the reason why, because they know they don't have truth on their side. They know they don't have facts on their side. So she got to play a game. Oh, here we have him. Now, watch this. This is really good. Take a look.
Chock full of lies. She went on to say as well that Trump's caused inflation. False. Kidnapped and deported American citizens. False. Yeah. Put us on the precipice of a recession. False. It's just classiness all around from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, which at this point really should be no surprise.
I know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot mess, honey.
That's when she disparaged the governor of Texas, who is in a wheelchair.
We know how to use a chair, whether we pulling it up or we doing something else with it.
That was when recently she was at a who in the world, whatever college had her speak. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't send my son or daughter there. She was speaking at a college graduation. And she is, you remember, and I think it was in Alabama or Mississippi where they had that big brawl on the docks and someone took a chair and hit somebody. She's referencing that. This woman is just pure trash.
He slapped me and wake me the up because I'm ready to get on with it.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Off.
All of this obviously leads to the question of who voted for Jasmine Crockett?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a very good question, because if you voted for her, you get what you got. You get what you deserve. And again, we go back to this racial idolatry. You know, a lot of Black people will vote for someone not because they have their best interest at heart, but because they're Black. Because they're Black. And me particularly, I wouldn't vote for this woman because she can't even pick a wig right. So how is she going to pick policy and make decisions as my representative in Congress? And she cannot even get her wig straight. She continues to wear this crooked wig. Let me see here. It's hideous. Hideous. You see that? You see that large? That's a fake part she has on the side there. And the wig is super big in the back. Here it is again. This one is lifting on the front. It's ridiculous. There she is there. You see it lifting there. She looks a mess. A mess. So again, it is what it is with her. And she's a racist. She's an outright racist also. Here she is. This was I think a couple years ago. She was talking she was in some interview, and she was talking about how she's happy that white people have low birth rates or something like that. Here she is. She can tell you herself. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. There, and that's another wig. Oh my goodness. Here she is.
I did recently read this interesting article that I thought was so funny. Yeah. I don't know that I thought it was funny, but it said that Caucasian Americans are dying at a higher rate than they are actually being born.
That's funny. That's funny. That's terrible. This is a woman that is supposed to represent all people in her district, no matter race. And you think it's funny that, as you say, Caucasian Americans, what did she say?
That Caucasian Americans are dying at a higher rate than they are actually being born.
But we know we shouldn't be surprised, because this is a woman that advocates for abortion on demand. So right now she's talking about white folks or white babies or white families, but she doesn't give a damn about black families either, because she advocates for the abortion of these babies in the womb. And we know that Black Americans are the largest block of people that use this abortion, Planned Parenthood and things. So she doesn't care about anybody.
Yeah, that is true, I think.
So with what's happening with the lack of a growth rate in white America, but it's not the same for Black America or Hispanic America or Asian America. And if the trend continues to go this way, then we're going to be put in a situation where the majority will become the minority.
You got 300 years. Get your affairs in order.
Right.
That's terrible. That is terrible. And then they wonder why we're in a situation now where many white people, white Americans, are sick of this stuff. We had 4 years of this woke mentality, this idea of looking at everything through race, this idea that Black people are somehow oppressed and are victims, and we deserve some type of retributive justice because of 400 years or so old of slavery and things like this. And she says things like that. That's terrible. That's terrible, and it's not of God. It is not of God. This whole idea of everything being viewed through the lens of race, it's Marxism. And Marxism was founded by Karl Marx, who was a devil worshiper. Okay? So what we are seeing is the effect of it's a demonic spirit. This racial idolatry is what it is. And this is why we started this channel, to bring it all back to the spiritual warfare that we are seeing in America, and for that matter, the world. This idea of viewing everything through race, this idea of division, it is of the devil. It is chaos. And we have to continue to call it out for what it is. and to see it for what it is. Because guess what? I don't identify with her at all. I don't identify with most Democrats. I identify with my Heavenly Father as a daughter of the King. That is my kingly identity. This here is a temporary space. Right now, we are supposed to come together as children of God, as Holy Spirit-filled people, come together as brothers and sisters in Christ and try to witness to people, as many people as we can. This is what we're here for, not for that. And that's what I'm here for as well. So, needless to say, it's been a great week. It's been a great week. These people are being called out for their lies. They're being brought forward for their hatred for America. Many people are starting to see what they are about. And I am so happy. I am so happy. I am. What a wonderful Mother's Day. This was a wonderful, wonderful week of President Trump calling it all out. Now, speaking of some type of biblical news, looks like there's been a break between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel. So not sure what's going on there, but looks like there's been a break there. Let me see. Yeah, so not sure. I saw a little bit about this earlier today, that they have had some type of break or some type of falling apart. So we will continue to follow that story. But I gotta say, I'm not sure if you guys watch Alex Jones, but he foreshadowed this a couple of months ago, like I think sometime at the beginning of end of March, beginning of April, that there was some type of division between President Trump and Netanyahu. So not sure where this is going to go, but we will continue to follow that story as well. All right. Well, this is the end of my time. Again, I wanted to pop on here this Friday evening, a little earlier than usual, and just check in, bring you guys the latest news. Also, we will not be on Sunday. We're going to enjoy our Mother's Day weekend, but we will be back on next Thursday to talk to you all about the latest in news and politics and culture from a Christian conservative perspective. So as you know, we, from faith and family to politics and culture, we tackle the hard truths and stand firm on biblical principles. Join me as we expose the lies, defend our values, and fight for the truth in a world that desperately needs it. All right. So again, if you guys are just coming in, please be sure to hit that like button, and subscribe. If you feel like you found your tribe, you are also a son or daughter of the King, hit that like button and subscribe. And I also want to wish all of you a wonderful weekend. Oh, I got another super chat. Oh, wow. Kenzie14 says, Big Tish, what a con artist. And I'm hearing that she may be trying to use New York residents' money to fund her legal fees. They have a $10 million slush fund that she is attempting to tap into. Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be a Democrat unless they try to use taxpayers for their money. So you're probably right. Let me see here. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm sure that's what she's doing. Yeah, I see it here. Taxpayers may be forced to pay for Leticia James's legal defense. That is crazy because this is a personal matter. So it says here, James may be eligible to use tax dollars to cover legal expenses stemming from a federal investigation into alleged fraudulent real estate activity. The New York AG may be planning to tap into taxpayer funds, according to language contained in the state's newly unveiled operations budget bill. The bill includes a provision establishing a $10 million fund intended to pay for reasonable attorney's fees and expenses for certain state officials. The expenses can be covered with taxpayer money and federal legal actions initiated after January 1st, 2025. That is disgusting. But New Yorkers voted for them. New Yorkers voted for it. Just like here in Maryland. You know, I didn't vote for these Democrats, but you know, the state votes for them. And so we get booty-jedged out, you know, via taxes and fees. And New York City is getting booty-jedged, booty-juiced out of paying for her legal fees for something, you know, that she's committing fraud, allegedly. And now, so she's breaking the law. And now she, it's a personal matter. It has nothing to do with her as an LG. And now she's going to push it on the taxpayers' dime. This is what they do, Democrats. This is why they want such a large government as well. This is why they want big government, because they know that they can create laws and they can tax and tax and tax out the wazoo because of it. They feel like they have a continuous money pit or what do you call it? A continuous amount of money from taxpayers to use to do all of this crazy stuff. This is what they do. So I'm not surprised. All right. Well, that does it for us tonight. Again, thank you guys so much. Want to wish all the moms out there, or even those who may not have children of your own, but maybe you're an aunt, maybe you are a mentor of some kind, anyone that does mothering, any woman that does mothering of some child, or you have done this, you help some child, some boy, some girl, some young adult. I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day, because we need more people like you in the world. We need more people, because again, the culture is so messed up right now that we need people to step in, be mothers, be fathers for people, and take on that position. So I want to thank you all for what you do. Thank you for joining me this evening on the live broadcast. We again will be back on Thursday evening. Wishing you warm days and starry nights. Good night.